Vasyl Lomachenko retains his WBO World Super Featherweight title with a 6-round TKO victory over Guillermo Rigondeaux. This fight followed, once again, the typical pattern of a Vasyl Lomachenko fight, with Rigondeaux in this case being able to keep up with Lomachenko's rhythm only for a round or so. After that, Lomachenko's incessant movement, his stepping off to the side, his angles, his work rate, all became too much for Rigondeaux, and Rigondeaux, even the great Rigondeaux, could not maintain concentration with the amount of stuff that Lomachenko was doing in front of him. The movement, the angles, the punch volume, etc., etc. Rigondeaux fell into the exact same trap that all the other, or most of the other, Lomachenko opponents fall into, where they get mesmerized by what Lomachenko's doing in front of them. He couldn't keep up. He fell into that trance, and he just turned out to be another Lomachenko victim. So yeah, it played out like a typical Lomachenko fight. This is the genius of Lomachenko. This is what makes him so good, is he's able to mesmerize. He's able to hypnotize opponents with what he does. And he overwhelms them. It's not like he's going out there taking people out with one shot, etc. Typically, he doesn't do that. But he does overwhelm you with the amount of angles he creates, the punch volume, the punch variety. It's just too much. So, excellent victory for Vasyl Lomachenko. I have to give a big shout out to the people who were angry at me for picking Lomachenko to win. The people who came at me sideways and said, I don't know nothing about boxing. How could you pick Lomachenko? There was a couple people that were just straight up throwing insults at me for picking Lomachenko. You see, this is what happens when you pick from your heart instead of your head, people. You end up picking the wrong guy in fights where you should really be able to see the winner fairly clearly, like in this fight. From the moment this fight was made, I was, pretty clear on the fact that I was picking Lomachenko. I felt like he was too big, for one. And when you've got a couple of fighters who are similar in skill level, I would say Lomachenko is actually more skilled. But when you've got a couple of fighters who are similar on a skill level, but one of them is bigger and younger, then you generally have to go with the bigger, younger guy rather than the smaller, older guy. Especially when it's a bigger, younger guy who has been more active than the smaller, older guy who's less active. So, you pick from your head and you get situations like this correct. But if you pick from your heart, you end up, in some cases, making a fool of yourself because you're attacking me for picking Lomachenko to win. You're acting as though I'm an idiot and I don't know nothing about boxing, etc. So, yeah, shout out to all those people who are attacking me for picking Lomachenko. Anyway, drop your comments in the comment section below. Let me know what you felt about this particular fight. Were you disappointed in Rigondeaux? Were you disappointed with the fact that he quit? Lomachenko predicted that Rigondeaux would quit before the fight. Lomachenko said, don't be surprised if he pulls out of his stool. Lomachenko understands the mentality of high-level fighters, guys who are used to winning, guys who are used to dominating. He understands the mentality they have. And a lot of the time when they're in a situation that they've never been in before, where they're not only losing, but they're getting humiliated, quite often these high-level undefeated fighters will quit, especially if they're older, like Rigondeaux. Rigondeaux's not in there to take a beating. The guy's at least 37, probably older. He's not in there to take a beating. He's used to dominating. If he's not going to dominate, he's like, hey, I don't want to be here. This is the mentality a lot of the time of these kind of fighters. And Lomachenko knew that going into the fight. Maybe even more so with Rigondeaux than with people like Nicholas Walters. Nicholas Walters not as old as Rigondeaux. So, yeah. Rigondeaux says he hurt his hand, his left hand. But I personally struggle to believe it. I don't think it was a case of him hurting his left hand. I just think it was a case of him feeling embarrassed, him being overwhelmed by what Lomachenko was doing. I mean, maybe he hurt his hand slightly, but I don't think it was anything I don't think it was a game changer, it hurting his hand, you know. That's what I feel. I just feel like he was in there with a younger, bigger, more high volume, fresher fighter with more angles, and he just got overwhelmed. Same as just about every other Vasyl Lomachenko opponent. So yeah, let me know how you felt about the fight in the comment section below, people. Where does Lomachenko go from here? Who should he fight next? Where does Rigondeaux go from here? It really was a step too far in my view for Rigondeaux, stepping up all the weight classes, but at this stage of his career, I guess there wasn't really much left on the table in terms of paydays, so he felt like he had to do it. Lomachenko, on the other hand, the world's his oyster. He can stay at super featherweight, he can move up to lightweight. There's a whole heap of different things he can do. How far can Lomachenko go in terms of how far up in weight can he go? Which opponents can he fight? What's Lomachenko's limit? That's what we need to find out now. What is his actual limit? Because at the moment, he looks unstoppable in the weight classes he's fought at so far. He's got that Orlando Salido issue to take care of, but most people, including myself, feel like he will take care of it. But in terms of, I think he'll win if he fights Salido again, but you don't know unless he does it. So I'd rather he does that, fights Salido if he can, avenges the loss, and then moves on. So there can be no naysayers, so there can be no people who said, oh, what about Salido? Avenge it. Do a Lennox Lewis. Lewis avenged his only 2 defeats, and therefore people can't say, oh, well, he always would have lost to this particular guy. No, because he avenged the defeats. So let's see Lomachenko do a Lennox Lewis, avenge his only defeat, and move forward. So yeah, anyway, you know how you feel, people. It's happening. I'm out.